Alright, so I'm going to do this video talking about crime. I had somebody that come on my video and they basically posted, and I deleted their comment because A, their comment had nothing to do with the video. If you're going to send me something, especially something that's criticizing, make sure you put it on the right video. And they didn't do that. The video they posted on was a cholinergic urticaria video, which is a skin condition. And they wanted to post about crime in Tacoma. Now, I do a ton of videos about Tacoma and Seattle in this area. And you could easily pick one and post the stuff about crime. But their biggest gripe was, he doesn't talk about crime in Tacoma. How come you don't talk about crime in Tacoma, or the percentages? So I have a lot of people over time who have done that. Some of them are from Seattle. Some of them are from different parts of the country. But people they have this preoccupation. I'm wanting to choose my words correctly. I'm trying to do better, okay? They have this preoccupation with Tacoma. And they want you to think that as soon as you walk out the door, you're going to be attacked. That's what, if I came on here and I said, as soon as you go out the door, if you're a woman, you're going to be attacked. Or if you're a guy, somebody's going to, be right there ready to get you. And that there's gangs on every single street. Every street. I don't know how many streets there are in Tacoma, but if you were to count all the way out at Point Defiance, where the bears and the raccoons are, if you count from there all the way down to Parkland, every single street, there's a gangster. Some people really want me to say that. And that every day, there are like 50, 60 people that are just, critical because of violence here. It's just not true. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there's no problems in Tacoma, that there's no crime in Tacoma. But also, a lot of times, people who are involved in crimes, regardless of the city and the country, are victims of crime because they're doing stuff they're not supposed to do. That's a big part of it. Now, not everybody, by no means, but there's a lot of people who get involved in stuff and they become a victim of crime. It's just common sense. Does Tacoma have an issue with gangs? Yeah, but so does every city of size. When you go to, the person never posted where they get their statistics from. They never leave a website or any of that type of thing. He was saying that Tacoma is like 150% higher on the national average for crime. That's not correct. It's close, but that's inaccurate. And I went to, and I'll tell you where I got my information. Now, I don't know about areavibes.com, but areavibes.com is where I went to find information because they have every city that you can think of. Even my hometown of Smith Grove, Kentucky, which beats everybody that I'm about to say in terms of safety. Okay? But when they're looking at statistics, they're looking at per 100,000 people. And if you're a small city and you don't have a lot of crime to begin with, you're going to be doing amazing. But if you also have a smaller population, and if you have some crimeage, you're going to be pretty high up on the list. That's why massive cities like Chicago and Los Angeles and New York, even though they have by far more killings than what they have in Tacoma and Seattle combined. You could take both cities and multiply it by 5 years, and New York is still going to beat it. But New York also has it's a mega city. So, I mean, there's millions and millions and millions of people who live there. So you spread that out over all those many millions of people. So, of course, their crime rate is probably going to be much lower than a place like, say, Gary, Indiana, or, say, Tacoma, Washington. Because you have, I don't know how many millions live there. In terms of, you're talking about New York City, let's say 8.5 million people. Tacoma just now hit 205,000, 209,000 people, something like that. So there's not a lot of wiggle room, right? But I'm going to go through, I wrote down a few cities, and I try to go all over the country. I didn't want to choose stereotypical areas that people always like to cite. But I went over, I'm going to just mention some of the cities I looked at. I gave away a clue, and I said Smith Grove, Kentucky. That's one of them. And now I'm going to cheat a little bit. Smith Grove wins. But Smith Grove doesn't even have 1,000 people. Smith Grove doesn't even have 800 people. Smith Grove, Kentucky does not have 800 people. But it beats everybody, because the reason why I'm saying this is when they were talking about national average, and when you look at the national average, you do know that they're talking about every town. So if you look at all of the cities, Oakland, Kentucky, for example, probably Oakland, Kentucky may beat Smith Grove, but Oakland, Kentucky has about 400 people. But when they're talking about national average, they're talking about every single city in the entire country. And some of these are cities that have 12 people, 50 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, 40,000 people. And those are cities, a lot of them may not have hardly anything going on. But you're taking the average of the entire nation when you're coming up with that average. So it's not surprising that places like Tacoma, when you're focusing on one city, is going to have a high average compared to the national average, because you're taking 350 million people and you're taking all the crime, and those places where nothing's going on, like Smith Grove, there's a lot of Smith Groves out there, thankfully. There's a lot of them. Then, of course, you're not going to have a huge national average, right? I mean, that's just how averages work. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. And I don't know exactly where Area Vibes got their information, so I could be completely and utterly wrong. Okay, so forgive me. That's Area Vibes' fault. And I also don't go into the FBI statistics and look at all that. I assume that's where they got this from. I don't know. But I don't have time to go through and look at, 50 different sources of information. Unless you pay me. Now, if you pay me, I'll do that research for you. But if you're not going to pay me, then this is what you're going to get, right? And I'm not trying to be a jerk, but it's just funny how people only want to fixate on one issue, and that is crime. And I've never denied that there's not crime here, but most of the time, you have a 1 in 17 chance of being a victim of crime in Tacoma. 1 in 17. In Indianapolis, you have a 1 in 19 chance. Where else did I look? Oakland, California, you have 1 in 16 chance. Oakland, you have a greater chance. Right? In Nashville, you have a 1 in 20 chance. Now, I put cities on here that people really like. They like them some Nashville, but they don't like them some Tacoma. So, in Tacoma, you have 1 in 17. Nashville, you have 1 in 20. I did put Oakland's, or not Oakland, but Orlando's. I didn't put theirs on there. Where else did I did the chances? I think those are the ones that I did. Right? In Smith Grove, you have a 1 in 43. Is that right? 1 in 43. In terms of being a victim of crime. 1 in 43. Now, there's probably some city out there, or several cities, that might beat that. But also, the crime in Smith Grove is going up by 41% year over year, too. So that means that's an extra... Somebody stole an extra package. Or something, right? So, because that's really about all that's going on. I mean, trust me. It's a great city. But again, it doesn't have 1,000 people. It doesn't even have a red light. That could change soon, but they don't even have a red light in Smith Grove, in the entire city. Regardless. Let's get back on point here, right? So I looked at Albuquerque, Hollywood, California, Detroit, Oakland, California, Lakewood, Washington, Tacoma, Washington, Seattle, Washington, Bellevue, Washington, Chicago, Illinois, San Francisco, California, Beverly Hills, California, Federal Way, I don't know why I put them separately. But Federal Way, Washington, Smith Grove, Kentucky, as I mentioned, Columbus, Ohio, Denver, Colorado, and Indianapolis, Indiana. I also took a look at Orlando, Florida, as well as Daytona Beach and Miami. Okay, I just went around and spread it out as much as I could. That was off the dome places I could think of, right? I wanted to choose stereotypical places like Oakland and Detroit and all those places that people mention in Chicago. Actually, Chicago, if you look at it, Chicago is better off than Tacoma when you're looking at percentages. But let's take a look. Number 1 on the list is Albuquerque, New Mexico. Now, based on areavibes.com, okay, so now again, total crime. This is based off of them. I didn't come up with this. This is based off of Area Vibes and wherever they got the information from. Albuquerque has 192% total crime. Okay? When it comes to the national average, it's 181%. Now, they're number 1 on the list that now, there could be a city that beats them. I don't know. Honestly, I don't care. But I just wanted to use different cities to show you that some people have said Tacoma's number 1. That's just not true. But I wanted to use different cities so that people can kind of have an idea, right? Albuquerque is 192% and 181%. So total crime, 192. National average, 181%. Okay? Number 2, let me find number 2. Number 2. And it's not Tacoma, by the way. Number 2. Number 2. Where's number 2? Hold on. I can't even read my own writing sometimes. Oh, Oakland. It's on the same sheet. Oakland, California is 158% total crime, 145 national average. Now, again, there's other cities that fall in line here, but I'm just going around using the stereotypical places first. Number 3 is Detroit, 145. Oh, by the way, Albuquerque's crime is supposedly going down by 14% year over year, right? Detroit is number 3 based on my list here. That's not 3 officially, just on the cities I chose. 145% total crime, 96% nationally, right? So you can kind of say maybe they're not number 3. There might be others on here that I mentioned that has a higher national average than Detroit, but their crime is going down by 4% year over year. Number 4, we're still not at Tacoma yet, but we're getting there. Number 4 is San Francisco. San Francisco, 141% for the total crime and 152% in terms of national. Okay? Let's see. So number 5. Number 5, good old Tacoma. Now, this is not 5 in general. This is just based on the cities I chose. I keep saying that so that people aren't saying, "So I told you it's up there. It's top 5." It's not. Tacoma, 138% total crime, 140% national crime. Crime is going down, decreasing 4% year over year. Now, this is based on area vibes, okay? That's number 5. Number 6 is Portland. Portland is 132 total crime and 148% national. Okay, so actually the national is a little bit higher than Tacoma, so you can argue that maybe they're higher than Tacoma. Technically, 132 to 138. So Portland's 132, Tacoma's 138 in terms of total crime. And then when we talk about national, it is 148 for Portland and 140 for Tacoma. But we're not going to split hairs here, right? So, number 7. Did I put it on here? Number 7, Daytona Beach, Florida. 131% total and 121% national. Number 8 Right up here. Okay, so I'm done with this one. It's good old Seattle, Washington. 126% by 134%. Okay? Now, how does that compare to Tacoma? Tacoma's at 138 for total. Seattle's at 126% total. When it comes to national, Tacoma's at 140, Seattle's at 134. But again, Seattle's sitting on 700 and something thousand people. Tacoma's at 200 and something thousand. It's per 100,000 people, right? Seattle's got a little bit more wiggle room. Again, that doesn't matter. Okay, so we did number 8. Number 9 is Orlando, Florida. Disney World and all that stuff's down there, right? 117% total. And I'm sorry, I was saying national. I'm talking about a total and property crime. I apologize. I've been saying total and then national. I made a mistake. It's property. It's total and property. So total crime and property crime. Okay? This is based on the national average overall. Okay? So I apologize. Total crime for this city compared to nationally is 117%. Property crime is 119% for Orlando, Florida. Number 10, based on the cities I chose, is Beverly Hills, California. Total crime in Beverly Hills is 109%. Property crime in Beverly Hills is 131%. Now, just for giggles, Smith Grove, Kentucky, when we're looking at total crime, is 9% nationally. So that's kind of where it is. And 4% property crime. So, you know, if someone hopped the fence and pulled the fence off the post, I guess that counts. But, because it's a lot of farms. That's where Smith Grove is. There's other cities that fall in here in different areas. Detroit, I've already mentioned. Oakland, mentioned that. Albuquerque, mentioned all those. Let's see. Miami is actually 62% and 62%. So total crime is 62% and property crime is 62% in Miami. But Miami has a huge population. So what's the point in all this? San Francisco is up there. Seattle is up there. Portland's up there. And Tacoma's up there. Right? But guess what? That's not stopping people from moving here. Those 4 cities are very hot markets. Those 4 cities people are choosing to move to because the job market makes a lot of sense. Now, I didn't check to see if Portland's crime rate's going down or Seattle's is going down or whatnot. I didn't get into that because it's a lot of stuff to look at, and I don't have a whole lot of time. But it says that Tacoma's is going down by 4%. There are some cities where it's going down drastically, right? I don't know if I put it on here. Let's see. Did I put it there? No, I didn't put it there. But there are some cities where it's going down drastically, right? So my point is that even though Tacoma has 138% total crime on the national average and 140% property crime, that's not slowing down people from moving here. And it's not going to slow down people. The crime rate is dropping, and that's good. It was much worse back in the day. Are there gangs here? Yes, there are. They're not on every single street or every block. Are there drugs and stuff here? Yeah, unfortunately there are. Unfortunately. Unfortunately. But every city has this, even Beverly Hills, California. And I wanted to put cities in here because, you know, if you put San Francisco is a very wealthy city, very expensive city. But people hate San Francisco, right? San Francisco people hate because of, A, it's in California, but B, it's San Francisco. So they're going to have their own social ills with San Francisco. So I couldn't just use that. Los Angeles is actually better off than San Francisco, technically, even though that's where a lot of the gangs formed out of. But, doesn't matter. I wanted to choose places where people love. I don't think I put Dallas on here, but Dallas is doing okay. I wanted to put places that people love. or where people would have a different point of view. So I included Daytona Beach because people love the beach and they love Daytona and they love Florida. I put Orlando in there, Miami, because people typically would think Miami would be the worst, but it isn't. And so I wanted to have a good fluff, a good batch of cities to choose from, because even places like Hollywood, California, because, you know, people may say, well, it's Beverly Hills. Hollywood, California. Total crime is 112%. Property crime is 89%. And they, in Hollywood, by far, same with Beverly Hills, by far, houses there cost by far more than what they do here in Tacoma. And you're going to get a hell of a better job there than you are here. That's for sure. Right? You just are. But even with this, even if Tacoma's crime, instead of it being 138 and 140, let's say it got up to, and I don't want it to, but let's say it got up to 150 and 150, you're still not going to stop people from moving to Tacoma. It just isn't. Now, there are some people who don't like Tacoma, and that's totally fine. There's a lot of cities in this country that I can't stand. But I don't move to those cities, and I don't disparage those cities. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't have this preoccupation to judge a city based on the action of a few, because most of the people in most of the country do a darn good job just trying to survive. Most of the people in this country work hard, do the right thing, and are honest. And they don't troll. Most people don't, believe it or not. Most people are really good people, and it doesn't matter what city they're from, right? You do have a small but significant, I mean, they make a significant impact, but a small group of people throughout the country that are a problem. And do they commit crimes? Absolutely they do. Absolutely they do. You have to understand context too. Albuquerque is a city that I lived in. It's a great city. Some people don't like it, and that's totally okay. Some people do like it. Albuquerque has a big issue in terms of DUIs. I don't know why, but people told me that it does. That adds into the statistics. That's not the only thing. There's a lot of other things that go on there. Absolutely it does. Right? It just does. But instead of us criticizing and talking negative about a city, find ways to build a city up and improve a city. Tacoma's crime is decreasing because we have people who care. That's why. I'm not saying that cities where crime is going up, people don't care. They just have to get a hold of it in different areas. There's no one solution fits everybody. But the crime rate here, and I can speak on Tacoma a lot better, right? The crime rate here in Tacoma is going down because, A, the police have done a really decent job. Now, are they perfect? No. Has the police here done some things they shouldn't have done? Absolutely. Are there problems? Absolutely. We can split hairs all day in 50 different ways if we're going to do that with every city. I mean, I could talk about the Smithboro cop if I want to. I don't think it's the same one, but, I mean, quick story. This is a tangent. This may be a crime. Well, it is a crime because I was speeding. There's no stoplights. There's a truck stop. And it's a big truck stop. The cop always sat kind of back a little bit because when you're going down that road, it's Main Street. When you go down Main Street, you can't really see over to the right where he hides. Unless you're right there in that pocket where you have to slow down because you're getting close to the interstate. Well, he would hide right there. I happen to, in the truck stop, there's two different ways to go in the truck stop. So you have one way here, you have the actual truck stop and gas station and the building, the convenience store here, and then another way where you can go in. So there's two little access points to drive in. I was barreling down that road. I don't even know the speed limit there. I don't think most people pay attention. It could be 35. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I was raised there, and I still don't know. But I was hauling going through there, right? And I saw a truck, a semi trying to come out, and I'm like, I'm going to beat him. It's no worries. There's nobody coming off the interstate or nothing. You can see. It's good. You can see. I happened to catch him and just kind of like I side-eyed and saw him, and he dropped what he had, and he was getting ready. He started to pull on out, and he was trying to haul. Well, at that point, my buddy, and I don't even know who it is or who, you know, the truck driver pulled right on out in front of him. He pulled right out in front of him. And I knew that if I only went like just a few feet past the interstate, I'd be in technically Warren County. I wouldn't be technically in Smith Grove anymore. So it'd be the sheriff that would have to be after me. And oh boy's not really going to do that. And I knew that. You know how slow semis are. And the semis got to, you know, figure out which direction it's going to go and all of that. And there's cars that may be coming and all of this. So I beat the ticket. Now, technically speeding, that is a crime. That is a crime, right? And I did it. And I was happy I got away with it. I think I was going probably a good 50. A little too fast, obviously. But I was going probably about 45, 50 through there, and I shouldn't have done it. But my point is that crime is everywhere. Different forms, different fashions, and in Smith Grove, most of what you're going to see is stuff like that. Or someone's having a party late at night. Or someone got beat up because they had a little too much to drink. Or something like that's typical. You know what I mean? Here in Tacoma, you know, you have a lot of different things that occur. It's a city. It's a true city. No doubt. It had a bad history at one point in terms of stuff that went on here. But the people here are trying to make the city better. There's a lot of people that have moved in here from Seattle, from different parts of the country like we have, to make it better. Right? Now, some people don't like it because there's gentrification. Some people are like, well, you know, it's not my fault necessarily. Right? But those are separate issues. But folks like myself come here to make it better. How do I make it better? I make it better by planting trees out front. Why? Because the city has an issue with trees. There's not a lot of trees and landscaping in Tacoma. You go up to Seattle, you see a lot more trees, a lot more landscaping. Tacoma doesn't have a lot of trees if you don't count the parks. People don't really do their yard well. They just don't invest in it. There are a lot of people that do. So how can I do things to help? The city was offering a tree planting program. I took advantage of that, started planting trees. Right? Joined the Chamber of Commerce because I own a business. That's the other thing I did. I owned a business so I could pay property tax. Not property tax, but business tax. I also pay property tax too. Pay business taxes. Right? Every quarter I have to go in and shell out money. I don't want to, but I have to. Right? Property tax. The school levy, right? Tacoma Creates. I voted for all of those things. Why? Because I believe in making the community better. None of those things I mentioned, other than the taxes, existed prior to 5 years ago. They just didn't exist. Why? Because there's city leadership, businesses, and citizens who are saying they want the city to be better. That's what counts. People are moving here because of that. They're not moving here because of, you know, people crick walking. They're not moving here because of, you know, someone's window got busted. They're moving here because the quality of life is good here. Now, is it utopia? No, it's not. And unfortunately, I can't make it that way for you, nor can anyone else. But what you and I can do is try to make the city better by trying to fix some of the issues that are here. Not give more credit to the people who are making things bad by making things better. My whole point is trying to educate people about Tacoma and Seattle because a lot of these people come here and guess what they do? They work, they provide more income for the city, more income for the state, and more money for the services that we need. This was a city that at one point was almost dying. Seattle has went through that at one point, and it may go through that again. But this was a city that was dying at one point. There have been a lot of instrumental business people who have really done a lot. You know, we can gripe about Sound Transit all day long, but Sound Transit was a big part of helping jumpstart the economy here. Same thing with University of Washington, Tacoma. And same with a lot of business owners who owns many different buildings downtown. They could have walked away. They could have voted with their feet and ran because downtown at one point was not nice. But they didn't do that. Yeah, I could live anywhere I want. I'm not bragging. I could live anywhere. I couldn't live in Beverly Hills, let's be honest. But I can live pretty much anywhere I want to. Right? But I choose to live here because I like how it is that small town type vibe. And I'm not explaining myself to anybody, but I'm just letting you know. And this could be the reason why a lot of people choose here. Could I chose Federal Way or Kirkland or Issaquah or Sammamish or Everett or Marysville or the San Juan Islands? Absolutely. I could have. With no problem. But I didn't want to. I chose to move here like a lot of people do who also have the option. You have a lot of people who have the option to live wherever they want to live. But they don't want to live in those places. Not because those places are bad, but it's because they like Tacoma. They like what the city has to offer. They like where it's going. Businesses that have come here that invested in the Tacoma Mall, for example, the Tacoma Town Center, the new Marriott Hotel that went up, the 20-something story building, right? Dunes Peninsula, the city invested in that. We are getting a new soccer stadium, hopefully. We have business owners that brought minor league teams here. They're doing this because they believe in the city, not because of someone who stole a package off the porch or because you have whatever the percentage was. The 140% property crime and the 138% total crime, national average. If that was the case, if people were that scared to come here to live, then Smith Grove would be a boomtown. And Tacoma would be down in the doldrums. San Francisco would not be the success story it is because it has so much crime, but that's not the case. The reason why is because people can make a decent living. Some people can't, and that's unfortunate. Some people can't afford the housing. That's very unfortunate. But there are some people who move because they have opportunities that are great for them. In my family's case, we're a Blasian couple. This is a great opportunity. Smith Grove, I love the city, but not so much. It's not conducive for my wife and my family. Tacoma is a better fit in terms of my wife and kids. These are just facts. Now, are there other places that would be better? Sure. But this offers a lot of benefit. It offers a lot of benefit, especially if you're into nature. So, yeah, is it perfect? It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to tickle everybody's fancy. It isn't. And if it's not the city for you, move. If you're able to. And if you're not able to, then try to make the best of it. That's the best you can do. That's all you can do. But I'm not going to make depressing videos just to please the few who want to talk negative. And in fact, even if I lived in Albuquerque still, I would not make videos daily talking about every single thing that's negative in Albuquerque. That's just a waste of time and energy. I think people are aware of those types of things. Most people I see on a day-to-day basis, whether I'm at my place of work, which is my business, whether I'm at home, whether I'm just driving around, most people mind their own business. And I don't think that's uncommon across the country. Most people across the country mind their own business. They don't purposely try to go and start issues. There are some that do. There's some instances of underreporting of crime. That happens in many cities. Absolutely. But on the same token, all I can do is be a better me. And you can be a better you. And if we do that, you're winning, right? Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you join the Discord, which will be down in the description box below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I will see you. Take care.